from it. They just live by it, so they stay in the negative. You get what I'm saying?
And
so
they
how
never can progress.
they never can progress, right, from that pain, from that experience. So how do you help people use the pain but not let it keep them stagnant? You get what I'm saying? Like, in a sense, it is a part of their identity, but they don't have to carry it.
Right.
So
you have to overcome it first.
Okay.
You definitely have to overcome it first. And so you have to deal with it on a personal level. And I always definitely suggest counseling for anyone that's been through it. Really, everybody needs counseling. I've been to counseling. Kobe Cornell, you familiar with Kobe Cornell? Yeah, he spoke at the Minority Trailblazers. He's speaking at my event on the 28th too.
Yeah.
And he really is an advocate for counseling and making sure that you get your mental checked out. And it's not even like you're crazy when you go to counseling. It's really like evaluating yourself and getting to know yourself better. Right. And I always say this about purpose, right? So purpose is getting to know yourself. So when you know yourself better, then you know your purpose better, right? Because everything you need, everything that's meant for you to have, you already have. And so once you understand yourself better and get to know yourself better, then you start to step into purpose. Right, and so counseling is one way that you can understand yourself better and know yourself better, because they really ask you the right questions, and like it's crazy stuff. Like, I didn't know I was insecure from when I got picked on when I was like my freshman year of high school. Yeah, you know what I mean? And so little stuff like that. So you definitely have to deal with it, right? But once you deal with it, then you always remember it. You always remember, and you let it keep you going forward. And so, like, I tell this story when I speak a lot. When I was 15, I watched my grandfather die. Oh, man. Right? Literally with my own two eyes. And so if you can see this scene, he had cancer. And so the family was surrounding his bed. Everyone was crying. And so this wasn't his regular bed. This was actually a hospital bed that they put in the house. They had to take his bed out so the hospice and the nurses could come to the crib. Right? And so the whole family was surrounding the bed, and back then I thought I had to be tough, so I always tried to hold in my emotions, and I was always trying to be the rock for everybody else. And so I tried to hold it down. I tried not to cry as everyone else was crying, and somehow I let a tear slip from my eye. And so he reached out to me to try to wipe the tear, and as he's reaching, his eyes roll to the back of his head, and he passes on. Right? That's graphic, right? That's graphic, right? And so for a long time, I didn't know how to function. Yeah. And so that's painful, right? That's hurt. Heavy. That's hurt. Especially because he meant so much to me. Right. And so that was painful. That was hurting. And so I had to deal with that on a personal level, but now I can wake up every morning with his picture right above my bed and be motivated. You understand?
When did you get to the point that you realized you could take that same pain and not only just go forward to motivate yourself to have a better life, that you can use it to motivate others?
So really, the first time I ever spoke in front of a crowd, it was crazy, was in Durham, North Carolina. A friend of mine, he puts on sports camps everywhere, all across. He just did a sports camp in Jersey. He did one in Durham. But anyways, he asked me to come speak to these kids. It was a memorial track camp. Remember the track runner that died from Central? Do you remember?
I have a vague memory of that. I have a vague memory of that, yeah.
Okay, so they do a memorial track camp every year.
Okay.
And so I came and I spoke, and all the parents and the kids loved it. And so really since then, I uploaded a video, and then since then the ball's just been rolling, and every time I speak, someone asks me to speak again, and then eventually I finally decided to do my own event to apply pressure. And so it's gonna be crazy, and working together with different speakers, even getting 4 different sponsors. Shout out to Trust Your Journey, shout out to Breezy Creations, shout out to J Productions, shout out to Me on the Move. So yeah, it's crazy. And then coming in June, I'm gonna be taking the same summit to Michigan.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and that's where I'm from.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, you from Detroit?
I'm from Jackson, Michigan. Prison City. That's what they call it.
Really?
Prison City.
They say if you're born there, you're going to be there for the rest of your life.
Goodness gracious.
Sheesh. So you came down here, did you come down here for school?
Yeah, I came down here to go to A&T.
Okay. Was Jackson close to Detroit?
It's about an hour away.
Okay.
It's outside of Lansing.
Okay. When you think about, I guess, your area where you come from, that type of thing, that mentality of like if you're gonna be there, you're gonna be there your whole, like you call it prison city as well. Like, you know, how do you escape something like that just kind of surrounds you every single day?
Right. So one thing that I always thank my parents for, when I graduated high school, literally the next week they moved to Charlotte.
Okay.
And so they got me out of that environment, but I still went back and went to Siena Heights University, which is about 45 minutes from where I grew up.
Okay.
And I was on football and track scholarship there. And so really being at school helped me out a lot because I wasn't actually in the city where I grew up, and we had a lot of restrictions because I went to a Catholic private school. So we had a lot of restrictions. We couldn't do too much. And then moving down to North Carolina helped me out a lot too. So really I had to separate myself from people that I love. Right? People I grew up with. So when I was getting picked on, my big cousin, his name is Isaac. Shout out to Isaac. He always stood up for me. So if anybody was messing with me, oh, he's handling it. And so that's how we grew up. And I had to leave him. I had to leave him back in the city because I couldn't stay there. There was nothing but trouble for me there. And my mindset, it wasn't the same as it is now.
Yeah.
And so now I feel like I could go back and I can be okay. But back then it was like, if he's riding, I'm riding.
There was some pain involved with that too. Did you feel any guilt for having to leave?
I didn't feel any guilt, but what I really tried to do as soon as I got down here is try to get everybody else to move.
Just come down here and help change your life too.
Definitely tried to, but it didn't work out. I had some people get locked up. Some people just in the streets, can't leave it. So, yeah.
Did you deal with any hostility from people like that? Like, you changed, you're not the same anymore.
No, I don't, because like I said, I keep it real authentic, and I'm real with everything that I do. And so I still pick up the phone. I still make those prison calls.
That's what's up.
You know, so they know I haven't switched up. I'm still that same guy, but at the same time, they know I can't hang up on the block anymore. I gotta keep it professional. I got a brand now, and I gotta make sure that I'm doing what God wants me to do.
Right. So tell me, where did the brand come from? Like, where did your inspiration come from that you wanted to speak to people? Like, you wanted to help people, and you wanted to put on events such as the one you have coming up on April 28th.
Well, so all my life, let me say that a different way. When I was like in 4th grade, they said I had ADHD, right? One of my teachers. Anyways, I went to the doctor. They didn't put me on the meds or anything, but I was always super hype and overactive, and I talked a lot, but I never had anything to say. And so I never thought that anybody would pay money to hear me speak.
To you, yeah.
And so once I did that event in Durham, it kind of opened my eyes. And then I was getting called on for different things, and people were really appreciating what I was doing. And so that really made me see the light. And then also, I got mentors that were speakers. And this is actually in my book. It's called The Rule of the Big Three.
Okay.
Right? So it's 3 people you always need to have in your life. You always need to have a mentor, and that's someone that's ahead of you in the game. That's someone that has vision for you so they can see your greatness before you even see it yourself.
Right.
Right? Then you need to have a companion. And that's not really your significant other. It's just someone that you walk with that's on the same path as you, and you guys try to hold it down together. And then you always need to have a mentee. And that's someone that, you know, it's not where you are, they're trying to get where you are. And so in that chain, you're always getting a pull and a push.
That's good.
And then you're being held up by the companion. So
what's it called again?
The Rule of the Big Three.
Rule of the Big Three.
I think you got that going on.
I have that all. I have all of that.
I think you got that going on.
Got a number of mentees. It's crazy.
Oh man, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And being so young for me, having so many mentees, and people hitting me up like 30, 40-year-old men, and they want me to mentor them. Like,
hey,
that's crazy.
it happens.
You're making it sound like 30 is old. Come on now.
We have some wisdom in the building. We have some wisdom in the building.
Yeah.
Just turned 32 2 weeks ago.
A word.
Yeah. So, it's not that old.
No grades yet.
It comes fast. I'll just let you know.
Hey,
You're
I'm
gonna
knocking
blink.
at the door.
You're gonna blink and it's gonna be there.
I'm knocking at the door.
When it comes down to this, like, there also can be insecurity, putting out your life story, taking your life to help motivate others. You have to put yourself on Front Street, and you almost don't get any privacy when it comes to that, because you're literally exposing yourself. And I know that's got to be tough. I went through a little period where I was going to high schools and middle schools, speaking to students there. And I noticed I'd have to refresh myself afterwards, just because it's like you have to bring back stuff that you kind of keep dormant for a while. What's your process in, I guess, getting back refreshed after you're writing or after you're going out speaking to these different people, because you do have to give of yourself a lot when it comes down to that.
Definitely. So how I refresh afterwards.
Yeah.
So really afterwards, I actually feel relieved after I speak.
Okay.
Right. So I actually feel like a big sense of relief. It's almost like counseling in a way. It's almost like, okay, I got that off my chest. And so really after I speak, all I need is a good meal and a good talk with my mom, and I'm good.
Okay.
And I'm good. That really will refresh me. But it is tough to air out all your laundry. And so a lot of times you're talking about things that you're still dealing with even. And so you kind of have to deal with that within yourself, but that's really where the passion comes from. No one wants to hear someone speak and it's stale, but if you're passionate about something, of course it's going to be more interesting.
Right.
And so a lot of times I spoke about things that I wasn't even completely done dealing with, but that passion that they felt from it and me even speaking about it is really what helped me kind of get over it.
What's the goal for the future, as far as like where do you want to see yourself in 5 years, besides getting closer to 30?
5 years, I'll be 26. That's not too close to 30.
You only 21?
I'm only 21.
That's
Goodness
what's up.
gracious.
That's what's up, man.
Wow.
Yeah, so
But that's kind of dope though, that you're that young and you realize like the impact you can have on people.
yeah, it's crazy. And within the next 5 years, and I don't want to put any limits on God, but in the next 5 years, man, I really see myself traveling with books, multiple books, speaking at different colleges and universities, and speaking in different cities. And I know that's on the way because I'm finally crossing state borders this summer.
Yeah.
And I even got calls from colleges and universities asking me to come speak. So.
Now, are you networking? How are you getting these?
Oh yeah.
gigs?
I'm definitely networking, and really, relationships is so key. And Dr. George Fraser, are you familiar with Dr. George Fraser?
Not quite, no.
Okay, he does a lot of work, and he's a big networker, and he always emphasizes network. He wrote the book, Success is in Our Race. You have to check that out. Success is in Our Race. But he really pushes networking. I think he's Forbes' top 5 networkers.
Okay. I didn't know they ranked networkers.
They do. And so I've really been making sure that I take care of all the relationships and that I build, and making sure that I always speak to people, just simple things. And so eventually, people they grasp onto you.
Let's talk about this event. When is the date on it again?
The 28th.
28th. What's going to be like the main thing that you want people to grab from this? When they come to the event, what do you want them to walk away doing or knowing?
So I want them to be secure in their story, right? I want them to be able to take what they've been through and turn it into success. And so one of the things that I'm drilling with the speakers that I'm working with is not only motivating them, not only getting them hyped, but also giving them practical application. And so those are things that they can take away and do in their everyday life that will help them maintain what they just built, the motivation and the inspiration to keep going. And so really it's a daily process. Like every single day I have to be completely intentional about being motivated. I have to be completely intentional about everything motivating me. And even though I've been through it, even though I'm going through it, no matter what, I always have to make sure that I keep my mindset right every single day.
Where is the event going to take place?
It's at Wyndham Gardens.
Wyndham Gardens. That's here in Greensboro?
That's here in Greensboro, right off Guilford College Road.
And for those who would like to come, how do they go about that?
It's on Eventbrite, so you can purchase tickets on Eventbrite. Or you can get with me on Instagram or Twitter. And my @ name is TJackFinessed. T-Jack Finesse. Y'all like that?
Finesse.
I came up with that when I was like 18.
Sound like it. T-Jack Finesse.
Well, do you know the address for the tickets for on Eventbrite, or what they can search if they go to the website?
If they go to Eventbrite,
Yeah.
Search Apply Pressure. And if you search Apply Pressure, it should pop up.
Now, for those of our loyal listeners, they may remember a young man that we had on the show by the name of Dre, and he was with Village Strength, the Aggie, and he was talking about health and being vegan and working out and all of that dope stuff. Well, he passed away not too long ago, and he was such a dope individual, and you happen to know Dre.
He was, yeah.
Yeah, how do you
Definitely.
know him?
So actually, Dre and I had the same major.
That's crazy.
And
What-
so I
what
met
was it?
him 2 years ago.
Really?
2 years ago, yeah, we had class together. And he's so energetic, and I'm energetic, so we vibe like that.
Mhm.
And we always made sure that we worked together, class projects and everything. And then when he started really getting into lifting and the CrossFit thing with the Village Strength, we started to work out together. He actually told me to come to his Sunday strength and conditioning class that he never made it to
Yeah.
because he ended up passing that Saturday. So
How did you deal with losing your friend like that and dealing with that pain and channeling
So,
that into a positive?
I hit the gym hard.
Hit the
I
gym
hit
in the
the
name
gym
of
hard.
Dre.
In the name of Dre, I hit the gym.
Yeah.
And then I was on a panel.
Hmm.
It was an event at A&T. It's called True Life. I'm Battling Myself.
Oh, I did see the flyers for that. It was
Yeah.
dope.
Oh yeah, it was definitely dope. And so I kind of talked about that when I spoke, and I really emphasized that, today could be your last. And what I talked about was the efficiency of a lion. And so a lion actually sleeps 20 hours a day,
Yeah.
but they're the king of the jungle,
Yeah.
right? And so the king of the jungle sleeps 20 hours a day and is only awake for 4. And so they only have 4 hours that they actually hunt, right? And so we're up for countless amount of hours, but yet we're not king of whatever we're doing. And it's because we lack efficiency. And so I really drilled that, and then I drilled the fact that this could be your last day. Like this could be your last hours.
Yeah.
So really that made me think about that. When Dre passed, it made me really think about, like, you got to do this now. Like, whatever God wants you to do it now, because you don't know how long he wants you here.
And one thing too, I met him just that one time when he came here on the show, and he had a big impact on me. And I was like, man, like when I get some free time, when summertime hits, I'm gonna go and try to work out with this dude. And then like Morgan shares the news with me, and it's like, man, you really don't know, because that was a young dude. So, is there anything that maybe you had planned to help honor him or keep his memory alive?
So actually last night we had Queen's Appreciation Night, and one of the sponsors for my event, Mail on the Move, they do this is their 6th annual Queen's Appreciation Night. And so we actually gave out a Village Strength Award. And so
Nice.
to a queen who showed that she was resilient and was strong.
I
So-
love that. That's cute.
Yeah.
I like that.
My voice is actually kind of gone because the mic went out.
Oh, you had to start yelling?
And there was like almost 300 people there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was crazy.
That's
We packed
dope.
out ACB 101.
Mhm.
People were standing. There was at least 20 people standing.
Yeah, that's a big auditorium at A&T. So that's what's up.
Yeah, it was dope.
But before we come to a close, I gotta ask you, since you're only 21, and you said you did football and track at your prior university.
Right.
I mean, the Aggies were perfect last year.
Oh yeah.
Are you gonna try to help them out again this year or whatever? Are you done?
Oh
with
no,
that?
I have 2 more classes and I'm out the way.
That's crazy.
I'm out the
Out
way.
here.
But I'm definitely rooting for my dogs.
But you got some eligibility left. Man.
I do have some eligibility left.
You don't want to do that? You don't want to do anything?
Can't do it, man.
Okay. All right.
I gave
do
it
it.
up, but I'm rooting for my boys. Shout out to my boy Jeremy Taylor, my boy Tariq, all them holding it down, man.
For sure.
I found the address.
Okay.
Yeah, to this event, Apply Pressure Motivational Summit, Wyndham Gardens, 415 South Swing Road, Greensboro, North Carolina.
Oh, yeah.
27409.
Okay, I know that. So that's it's right there by Carolina Ale House. That's kind of right there off of I-40. So that's easy to get to.
Okay, okay. Yeah.
Next to the strip club over there.
Oh,
in the BP.
I'm done.
Oh, you been over there?
Next to the strip
I mean, my
club.
boy actually used to manage that club though.
Oh, okay.
So,
I
yeah,
got
I have been.
So you was getting it for free. That's what you telling me?
I literally, like, honestly, this is gonna sound like it's like I'm just making this up, but I literally just went there to check it out, support him one time or 2 times.
One
I
or
think it's 2
two.
times. I think it's 2
Or
times.
3.
Okay.
And then no, and that's because the strip club's not my thing. And I literally was just there to just talk to him and then just get out. But you know,
That's what's up.
that's not my thing. It doesn't motivate me. You know what I'm saying?
Come
I
on.
just do things that motivate me. So once again, let people know the information about the event that you have coming up.
All right. April 28th, Apply Pressure Motivational Summit. It's going to be at Wyndham Gardens from 12 to 3 p.m. It's going to be dope, man. We're sharing raw, authentic motivation with you guys. You're going to hear a lot of stories. I have people speaking from people that have attempted suicide, people grew up in the inner city, people that dropped out of college, came back. So really, you'll get that raw motivation. You really going to hear a lot of testimonies there. Wyndham Gardens, April 28th, 12 to 3.
Word.
Get your tickets on Eventbrite.
Thank you for coming. You're listening to Straight Talk right here on 102 Jams.